yourself.
Yep, you're set.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good evening, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for the second session of our Mastering Meta-Analysis course. My name is Ataur Rahman, and I will be moderating today's session. We are very excited to begin our second session. As you all know, since our first session, because of the overwhelming response and the impact that it has on the learning of so many people, we have decided to make our course free and available for all. We have had a great response to it. We had a total of 150 new participants who registered for it on top of the previous 100. And I would like to thank Dr. Ahmed Lagari for his continuous support and his vision for this. Today, we are very honored to have Dr. Saad Rahman with us. Dr. Saad Rahman is currently a cardiology fellow at Lehe Hospital and Medical Center. He is the former chief resident at Carl Health Internal Medicine Residency Program, and he's a graduate of King Edward Medical University. Dr. Saad Rahman, he has a very strong background in research. He is an expert in systematic reviews and meta-analysis, and he has attended and presented his work across major US conferences. Um, Today, we will be learning about how to form a strong research question using the PICO framework, and also how to search the literature and what are the strategies for study selections. So without any further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Saad Rahman to begin today's sessions. Dr. Saad Rahman, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ada, for the humble introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm really honored to be here. So, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Actually, let's start with this. So, is everyone able to see my slides, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect.
Yes.
So, hello everyone. Again, as Ata mentioned, we're gonna learn about research. I feel today some of you will hear some things you already know. Some of you will hear some things entirely new, and then some of you will know about things you already knew, but in a different way. So there is no right or research, no right or wrong way of doing a research. Everyone has their own way. As soon as you are hitting the all basic principles. So I feel research question is one of the most important component of the overall research. Uh, the research I have done, I see that if your research question is strong, you can publish in big journals like Jack, Jaha. If the research question is weak, how many participants are there or part of the group? Research might not go far. So I feel we'll talk about research question as well. Again, then we'll try to go through the PICOS as Ata mentioned. So these are the objectives. Good research question, PICOS framework, what it is. Then literature search, I'll show a live demo of PubMed literature search. I feel it's the biggest bank, so we'll go through that. Then Boolean operators and mesh terms, what they are, how they're helpful in literature research or literature search. And in the end, we'll go through some data extraction and screening strategies. I myself use EndNote, so I'll go through that, and I'll also show some of that through Ryan, which is the newer one, AI based. So, so again, today's presentation, let me actually, yeah. So today's presentation will be divided into three components. The first 20 minutes or first third will be going through the slide itself. The second third will be the live demonstration, PubMed, Ryan, and EndNote. And the last, I'll try to save at least 15 minutes for question and answers because I feel they're very important as well. And then this session is going to be recorded as well. Like if we go through things fast, because I think there are a lot of things we're going to target today, you can always, go through the video on the YouTube and see that as well. So, first of all, a good research question, as I mentioned, is always focused and clear, answerable through data. You always develop the question. Sometimes you develop a question and then do literature search. Sometimes you do literature search and develop the question in retrospective. So both of them are important, and both are right ways. Sometimes you develop a question and then you come to know that it's already been studied. So that's also something. Then relevant to field and add values. You have to recognize what is your interest of research. Like I feel in IM when I started research, I started with hematology oncology in 2020, and then some did some GI projects. In the end, I ended in cardiology, because during my residency, I found it more attractive. So I think it's always helpful if you can identify what research you like, because it's not only systematic reviews and meta-analysis, it's review articles, it's case reports. So relevant to field and adds value is very important as well. Then feasible within time and resources. I feel when you start a research, the most important thing is what is your target, what is your goal. When you have to end it, you have to have deadlines. Without deadlines, research can go up to a year. So you have to set a deadline. It can be 1 month, it can be 2 months. You can set a shorter time period, and then it's okay to delay by 10, 15 days rather than putting 6 months as the end point. So that's also important. And then structured using framework like PICOS that we'll discuss moving forward. So example of good research question, there were several coming in my mind, but I just chose this one. I feel we can put it well in PICO, so it will be easier to understand. So the research question among South Asian adults in the US, how does high blood pressure affect the risk of ischemic heart disease compared to normal blood pressure? So why I'm calling it a good research question is we'll break it through as we move forward. But the main question is ischemic heart disease. Like we want to see the impact of blood pressure on ischemic heart disease. But if you think about it, it I think a lot of research is already done on that. So how it can be a good research question? You have to specify it. As I mentioned, you have to be specific about it. So how we specify it, we can, divide into variables. So high blood pressure versus normal blood pressure in ischemic heart disease is the broad question. And how we break it down is South Asian adults. So now we are taking it to a very specific region, South Asian adults. But there might be a lot of research on that as well. We can,
ये बॉयज शायद तुम्हारे हिंदी हो
sorry,
शाम में लगा
Everybody,
शाम
Abdul Basit, can you please mute yourself? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ada. So again, normal versus high blood pressure on ischemic heart disease, we specified it to South Asian adults. Now, it might also be very broad, but South Asian adults in the US is even a smaller group. So we became more specific, and as we become more specific, we are hitting more chances to develop something new. And even in this, we can do among South Asian young adults. So now you're focusing on 19 to the age of 24. You're further stratifying it. So the more specific and clear the question is, the higher chances of publishing it. Again, tips and tricks, as I mentioned, how you can develop a research question. Number one, explore gaps in existing literature. As I mentioned, there are two ways of developing a research question. Number one, you talk to a mentor in the specific field, get a question, do literature search, or do your search and then explore gaps and develop the research question. Number two is review existing systematic reviews, meta-analysis. If you're doing a meta-analysis, there is a new trial, but an analysis came after that. Kind of, you're not adding something new. So you have to review. If you're doing a systematic review, are there systematic reviews before that or a meta-analysis before that? How early it was, if it was like 6 months ago, 1 month, 1 year ago, and there is no recent data, I feel it might be not that helpful. So again, this is very important. Identify inconsistency in findings. What that means, like if a research was published and it has a lot of heterogeneity. I think we'll discuss this more during the meta-analysis session, which will be, I'm not sure if session number 3 or 4. But broadly, heterogeneity means when your population that you're doing research on has a lot of inconsistencies, and then technically it's a big limitation to your research results. So if you feel there are some inconsistencies in findings, you can always do the research on that, make it more specific, remove those inconsistencies, and go on from there. And the last one is consider new interventions, populations, or outcomes. I feel it's always helpful to have a mentor. I also had a mentor when I started, and why? Because in specific field, like if I'm working in cardiology department, you go through these cases a lot, so you will have more capability of having new questions, and I think it helps a lot. So it helped me, and it will help you as well. So again, first thing, how to develop the research question. I feel when you go to conferences, ACCH, AHRS, Sky, I try to be there myself as well. But it's always a good practice to go through the poster sections. Like go through different, research sections, that what people are publishing. SGLT2 is hot on news. So many people are publishing SGLT2. They're putting in different populations: Southeast Asians, US Americans. They're stratifying with respect to in CKD, in diabetics, in non-diabetics, in patient with cardiac disease, without diabetes. So it's always good to go through different sections. The more you read, the better you will be at research, I feel, because you will know where the gaps are. So I feel the first meta-analysis is always the most authentic one. What does first meta-analysis mean? There are two terms. One is first meta-analysis. The second one is update meta-analysis. I feel the way meta-analysis has become saturated, it's very hard to publish. Jack altogether has stopped taking meta-analysis. I think only Jack Advances is taking, but rest of them are moving more towards patient-specific data. We'll talk about that as well. So, first meta-analysis is whenever a trial comes. There are studies. I think you guys discussed in last session that you need 2 or 3 studies, to develop a meta-analysis, 2 RCTs or 3 observational studies, or 2+1. So, first meta-analysis means that there is no meta-analysis in the literature, and you are the first one doing that. It is almost very hard to do that because people are very fast. When a late-breaking trial is announced at ACC, believe me or not, in 4 to 5 days, the meta-analysis always comes. So it's very hard to compete with that. But if you can do that, it will be the most authentic one, and it will go to big journals like, as I mentioned, Jack and Jaha. Uh, and it's a confirmed publication, but very hard to get it. The second type of meta-analysis is patient-level meta-analysis. What that means is it's individual participant data. You get that from the studies. So when you do meta-analysis, what you do? You see all those studies. There are analysis done on those studies. You get that data from study 1, 2, 3. You combine that in your software and you develop results, which is good. But again, like, you're not developing anything new, you're just increasing the population size, and you are trying to produce more significant results, or something different. That, like, if there is a meta-analysis and you're updating that meta-analysis, what that means is you're adding some studies that were published in the last 1 year and putting it to the previous one. But if the result is the same, there is no, you're not adding anything, so it doesn't make sense, to do that meta-analysis. Again, like, I feel patient level meta-analysis is much more beneficial. How? Because now you're not only just using the data that was used in the previous studies. You go to that specific author. It's hard to do that. You go to that specific author, you get the patient level data from them. Like, if it's an RCT on 150 patients, you ask the data for those 150 patients. Now you go to the second study author. It's a cohort. You go and ask through the patient for patient level data from them, 450 patients. Now, from 3 studies, instead of using their already done meta-analysis, you are using like 150 plus 450 plus, maybe per se 250 or 350, and you're developing 1,000 patients at a patient level, data, and then you do analysis. It's much more authentic. Patient level meta-analysis is definitely published directly in Jack, and it as a state of art review. So it's very good to do that. It's more precise, effect estimates, ability to perform subgroup analysis, because you're controlling things now. You're the one who's initiating analysis, and can adjust confounders in the previous studies, as I mentioned, heterogeneity, if there was different population, stuff like that. But there is a big challenge. What the challenge is, you have to reach out to the authors. It takes a lot of time. It's time consuming. It can take months. So very hard to do that. But I feel if you can do a patient level meta-analysis, it will be a big addition to your CV. And even one meta-analysis, which is patient level, is better than 10 meta-analysis, which are update analysis. So that is a good thing about that. I think the same thing when I mentioned heterogeneity in population or outcomes, you can basically counter that. Interest in patient level predictors or interactions, you can develop entirely new analysis. You can do it in your own way. Need for time to event or adjusted analysis. And like, what I'm trying to say in this slide is you can play around whatever you like to do, because when you are taking an analysis for update meta analysis, you're bound to their study question. You just are adding or increasing the patient number, but you are not kind of doing something new. But patient level meta analysis, you can select your outcomes and you can go on from there. So that's a good thing about patient level meta analysis. Again, we'll discuss this in questions as well. I'm just trying to be more efficient with time, but we'll go through the question answer session and I can answer the questions. So coming towards PICOS framework, So what does PICOS mean? What is the abbreviation of PICOS? So P is population, I is intervention, exposure, C is what you're comparing to, what is already there. O is the outcome you are, targeting. It can be efficacy, it can be safety, it can be whatever. And then study design. Is it a systematic review? Is it a meta-analysis? So you need to know these questions or these things before you start or formulate research question. Again, I think how you can do is number one, go through data, find the inconsistencies, develop a question, and then kind of fill PICOs with that. I think I just made this table from the previous question that I gave the example in the start. So, what is the population you are studying? South Asian adults in the US, very specific populations, or South Asian young adults, 90 to 24 years of age in the US. So, this is your population. I think population is one of the most important component of PICOs. I is, what you want to, what is the main intervention? High blood pressure. What is the comparator? What you're comparing with normal blood pressure? And then outcome, incidence of ischemic heart disease is the outcome, and studies which you will be including cohort, randomized control trials, everything like that. So as I mentioned, P, I, and O are the most important components. A lot of times you will not have comparing population. Like when I will do the demo, I'll do it on uh, incidence or impact of cocaine induced cardiac arrest in young adults. So a lot of times you will not have the comparing population, which is fine. But P, I, and O, you need to have these three for sure. Introduction to PubMed. So I have the live demo will be kind of in the second section, but I'll go through slides first, and then we can go from the basic. So introduction to PubMed. I'm gonna target PubMed here. There are different databases as well. Cochrane is there, Embase is there, Medline is kind of derived from PubMed, so kind of the same population, and then so on. Clinicaltrials.gov, but PubMed is free resource. Again, it's easily available. You can go through PubMed. Anyone can go to the PubMed, and then indexes over 30 million citations. So the biggest bank, and then ideal for biomedical research as well. Uh, Mesh terms. What does mesh means? Medical subject headings. So whenever you do literature search, you need to have these mesh terms. Why is that important? Because for instance, you're using cocaine induced cardiac arrest. So cocaine is one of the variables, but you need to know how cocaine is used in literature. Cocaine can be used as cocaine. Cocaine can be used as cocaine hydrochloride, or any other biomedical name. So if you miss that mesh term, which was used in literature but not part of your literature search, you're missing all those studies. Similarly, cardiac arrest or cardiopulmonary arrest, they're the same things. But if you're not adding the mesh term derived from cardiac arrest, which is cardiopulmonary arrest, you're missing all the literature where they use a different word. So it's very important to know your mesh terms and put them in the literature search. I'll show you how to find those mesh terms as well when we go to the PubMed demonstration. Again, standardized vocabulary for interesting articles. It's very important to be very specific and clear with your vocabulary. And again, as I use, sorry, is there a question?
Ali Mehdi, can you please mute yourself?
Okay. So yeah, example, cardiac arrest, mesh terms. What are they? They are basically terms which fall under the same category as heart arrest or asystole. So cardiac arrest, cardiopulmonary arrest, heart arrest, asystole, they're all part of the same entity. But you need to use these terms during literature searches so you don't miss those articles where a different term was used. So that's the main concept of mesh term in analysis or systematic review. Again, mesh term, we need to know, that there will be mesh terms separated by comma, separated by dash, separated by plural, singular. So which mesh terms are common, which mesh terms are different? Because you should not use two same mesh terms as well in literature search. It can add redundancy. So if mesh terms are separated by comma, they are the same. You can use either of them. You don't need to use both of them. Like cardiac arrest is a mesh term. If you use arrest comma cardiac, it's the same. You can use one of them. You don't need to use both of them. The second thing is if they're separated by a dash. So when it's separated by a dash, it becomes a different entity. You have to use both. You cannot miss any of them. Like cardiac arrest or cardiac dash arrest is a different mesh term. So that's also important to know. And then plural versus singular. So again, they're also different. Cardiac arrest or cardiac arrests are taken separately in PubMed when you do literature search. So you have to use both singular and plural as well. Uh, because PubMed automatically maps plurals to correct singular mesh terms sometimes, but it's always safer to search both. You can miss some things which you don't want to. So summary is, if it's separated by a comma, you can use it. If it is separated or it has a dash in between that, you have to use both of them. They're different. Singular or plural, you will use both of them. And I'll show through the live demo as well. I think things will make more sense there. But yeah, we'll go through that as well. The third important thing after PICOS and mesh terms is Boolean operators and or. Again, we will see in the PubMed live demo as well. But what does and mean? So narrow search by combining terms, like your two PICO variables. What the population was what Southeast Asians, or you can say intervention can be diabetes, diabetics versus non-diabetics. So Southeast East Asian and diabetes are two different things. They should be narrowed by an and. You're combining them, but you're not putting up a choice. But if it's diabetes or hyperglycemia, high blood glucose, they're kind of the same. They're all are I, right? So they have to have or means either or, like you are using both of them, you are expanding your research, but then you cut it off through and. So what I'm trying to say is South Asians, Southeast Asians, all of that is or South Asians or Southeast Asians and diabetes or hyperglycemia or high blood sugar. So this is how you use Boolean operators. What you do is you put all the mesh terms for P and separate through OR. Cardiac arrest, cardiopulmonary arrest, asystole, they're all ORs. You separate them by an OR. And then you combine it with an AND to young adults, young adult. All of these are, combined with an AND, both of them. And then you can add third one, which is whatever it is. So Boolean operators help to structure your question, during the literature search, that you have mesh terms, you have found all the mesh terms through PubMed. Now you're going to do a research. Boolean operator will help to structure that research to tell PubMed what you're trying to search, what articles you want. Because under Southeast Asian, there will be 1 million articles for say. You don't need all of them. You need Southeast Asians with diabetes or with high blood pressure. So then you add an and, because with or you get all of those studies which have Southeast Asian in that. Now you have to add it with an and. So now it will show Southeast Asian and ischemic heart disease or high blood pressure or high blood sugar. It will now kind of, do a smart work for you. It will, instead of 1 million plus 1 million, it will generate only 500 studies which have both of these entities. So that's why and is very important. Again, example, as I mentioned, Southeast Asian or Asian Indian are the same mesh terms, have to be separated by an or. But then you add an and combine it with with another PICOS, which is I, hypertension or elevated blood pressure. And then you add another and now you want to study your outcome, ischemic heart disease or coronary artery disease. So if you can understand, or is for the same mesh terms, you add it with an and put the other component of your question into the literature search, just to make it more smart and more systematic. Okay, so I think we'll move to the live demonstration. Whatever I talked about, I'll try to put it and do through the PubMed. I'll use a more specific one, maybe cocaine-induced cardiac arrest in young adults. Because if I use a big question, I'll be ending up, putting maybe like 20 mesh terms, and it will take a lot of time. So I will use like a more specific research question so we can do it fast. And then you guys can always practice, at home and do it for yourself. So let me, okay, desktop. Okay, now you guys will be able to see my desktop. You guys are able to see, right?
Yes, we can see Dr. Saad.
Perfect. Okay, so let me open the PubMed. So you have to have two slides for the PubMed. What that means is go through PubMed, open it, you will see this screen, the first one. Uh, it's always good to have two monitors. Obviously, here I'm not using that, but why I would explain that. So the first window need to have this mesh. So go to PubMed. In the bottom, you can see learn, find, download, explore. Go to mesh database. So that's the first thing you need to have. Open another one. PubMed again. You go to PubMed, you go to advanced, and this will something will open, right? You can see and or not, all of them. So let's start a research question. Sorry. So uh, we developed a question. We are studying cardiac arrest in young adults. Cocaine-induced cardiac arrest in young adults, for say, cocaine, cardiac arrest. So what is our outcome here? What is O? Cocaine. What is intervention? Oh, sorry. Outcome is cardiac arrest. Intervention is cocaine, and the population is young adults. So PI and O is the most important, as I mentioned. So again, start with the P. Population is young adults. You search through the mesh, you can see that. And it will tell us what is young adult. So a person from 19 to age of 24. Let's do adults just for curiosity. What does adult mean? So go. So when you search it, the first one you should always use that. So adult is in PubMed is a person from 19 to age of 44, but young adult is 19 to 24. So that's helpful to know. But let's do young adult again. And when you do that, it has to be mesh here, if you can see. Uh, Young adult, the first one, touch it. These are the mesh terms. So the first mesh term you have to do is uh, do add to search builder. When you put it, this has to be like that. You see young adult mesh. And after that, you add up to the, so copy that, control C, and now you put it in here. So this should be your first mesh when you start. And I'll add it. So population is young adult. Now let's go there. Now, young adult, as I mentioned, young adult or young adults are different. So here it is young adult, it is young adults, separated by a comma doesn't impact. Like this and this is same, right? Because young adult separated by a comma, adult, comma, young, they are same. But adults is not same. So you can put this here. And you will add with an and or because they are the same. Again, I feel I have added even with comma, it just adds your work, but it will not harm you. So you can do that as well. So let's search. Let's do the search. Okay, so it found 1.3 million articles from the database, which is a lot, right? 1.3 million. Why? Because young adult was used in 1.3 million articles present in the PubMed. So that's huge. But let's try to be more systematic. So what is the second thing? So the population is young adults. What is intervention? Cocaine. We need to see cocaine's impact, right? Let's search cocaine. Again, I searched cocaine. Mesh should be here. Go to the first one. And here are all mesh terms. So again, as we did for the previous one, the same practice, add to search builder. This should be your first mesh term. Copy it. Now the two screens, there are two screens, you can open in both of them separately and it halves your work. Believe me, it's a big blessing when you're doing research. You have two monitors open in front of you. But let's copy that. So cocaine mesh. And now see, cocaine hydrochloride, some people use this. Now it's different from cocaine, right? If you don't put mesh terms or don't practice that, you'll miss all the articles with where the cocaine's name was used differently. So let me copy this and okay, so add and put here with an or again, because they're the same. So use cocaine or cocaine hydrochloride. Cocaine hydrochloride separated by a comma. So again, as I mentioned, the same thing. So we don't need to use that. Cocaine HCl, yes, it's different because spellings are different. And ACL comma cocaine is also the same as I mentioned. Separated, but it was cocaine dash HCl. It will not be a different. It will not be the same one. It will be a different one. So let's copy this one as well. Put it here. Separated by and. So cocaine mesh or cocaine hydrochloride or cocaine HCl. Let's search. So 48,000 articles registered in PubMed which have used the word cocaine or relative, mesh terms or relative terms. right? So 1.3 million plus 48,000, a big number, but let's become more systematic again. So we use our P, we use our I. What is the outcome? Cardiac arrest. Let's put it here as well. So heart arrest again. The same practice: mesh, cardiac arrest, and heart arrest. Open this. So these are the mesh terms. Again, you go to the bottom. These are all entry terms, or entry terms are basically stemmed from the mesh term. Mesh term is used to search that, but whatever it shows, it's kind of the entry terms. So again, let's do that. First needs to be the mesh one, heart arrest. Okay, let's copy it, put it here, add the same practice. I'll try to be more fast. So heart arrest and heart arrest, they're the same, right? Separated by a comma doesn't make a difference. Asystole is different, or and asystole is, I already saw that, but I'll add with an or as well, just to save the time. So S is also different. Now cardiac arrest and cardiac arrest separated by comma are the same, so we just need to put one of them. It can be any of them. And cardiopulmonary arrest again is different, as I also mentioned. Yes, so copy that, put it here like we did for previous ones, and R. So now we have the third, which is outcome. Let's search it. Let's see how many we found. Another 100,000. So if you see 1.3 million studies with young adults, 48,000 with cocaine, and 100,000 with heart arrest. Now, what if you add them up? They will add up to, I don't know, maybe 1.3, whatever, more than million. But now the systematic review, what we do is now we're going to use and for the systematic research, right? So you add query with the first one, go to these three dots, add query. Okay, so it has added your query. Then add with an and, as I mentioned before, we are combining two Pico variables with a Boolean variable and add with an and. So now what you have done is, as I mentioned, you want PubMed to search all three of them together in literature and find the articles. And don't miss any of them because you are using entry terms as well. Let's search it. 40. So amazing. We got 40 here. To date, there are 40 articles that are using three terms together. Number one is our population, young adults. If we do adults, it will become more because it will now target 19 to 44. Now we're doing 19 to 24. And what you need to do here is these 40 articles, you need to put them for the primary screening. We'll go through that as well. Just to save time, I'm going to try to be more efficient. So show more results, go down. I usually just open and see them. Okay, 21 to 30. And then in the end, we're getting total 40. So perfect. Again, you can do some, you can play around here, 1994 to 2025. These are the articles. You can change the timeline. You can put publication date 1 year, 5 year, 10 years. Like I think most of you might know that you need abstract, full length, and clinical trials, meta-analysis, everything. You can play around with this section as well. But now we need to save this. This is very important. So save your data. I usually do the PubMed. So go here in the format, do it PubMed and create a file. So let's see if it has downloaded. Finder. Yes, PubMed Young Adult. It has saved it for me. Uh, let's go to our slides. So this is the PubMed demo. What we did was how to use and an R. Okay. Uh, through PICOS, you made a good question. You divided it into PICOS, found the mesh terms through PubMed, put them systematically using Boolean operators, and you shrunk your research from 1.4 million to 40 articles where they're used together. So primary and secondary screening, what does that mean? Because now we have our articles, right? We found the raw data, which is 40. Now we need to be more systematic what that means. So primary screening is very fast. If it's so 40 is nothing one person can do, but sometimes you will find 500 articles because a bigger question. I use the small one to save time. Otherwise we'll end up putting just mesh terms in the data. So primary screening is, you see the title, you see the abstract for review very quickly. If it's a case report, it goes out. So I think in the previous session you learned about which are important articles, right? Review articles are not important, preclinical studies are not important, case reports are not important. So you need cohorts, observational, or you need RCTs mostly. Case controls can be, it depends on what your research question, but mostly these. So you do primary screening like cocaine induced cardiac arrest in young adults, an amazing case report. So you saw the title, there, it's a case report, it goes out. So primary screening is all about titles. Secondary screening is very important. So after primary screening, when you have removed the duplicates, I'll show you that quickly as well. And when you have removed the irrelevant case reports and preclinical studies, now you have cohorts, you have RCTs, which are not duplicates. Now the secondary screening comes into the place. So out of 500, you're down now to maybe 40 full length. And now you will divide it for these 40 to your group. Like if there are 10 people, four of every one of them gets four. In secondary screening, you have to open a full length article and you remove that based on your inclusion exclusion criteria. Like if there is a study that is cocaine induced cardiac arrest in adults, it didn't find you didn't find this through primary screening, but now when you're opening the full length, you see the study cost is 19 to 44. That's not yours. So here again, you can screen it. You can take it out because it is meeting your exclusion criteria. So secondary screening is more detailed. It takes more time. So it's always good to divide these articles among your team. I just add this from my one of my publications. So Prisma flow diagram, as I mentioned, PubMed is 140, and then you found, sorry about that, how much of articles you added from Embase. So Embase in PubMed 140, 424, you find 564 through initial literature research. You remove duplicates to Ryan or EndNote. I'll try to show you that as well. Again, like 133 were duplicates, number came down to 431. Again, primary screening through titles, you remove 354, 77. Now you're doing secondary screening, full length articles. In the end, you're left with 24 studies or question or articles which are actually part of your study question. So this is what you do. Okay. EndNote demonstration and Ryan. So again, as I mentioned, I use EndNote mostly. Ryan is AI based. It's very smart. It's free as well. So I think Ryan is also fine. I'll show you both quickly. So let me go through EndNote. So what I usually do is I right click this. I open with, okay, let's go to other because it's not showing me EndNote here. EndNote. So EndNote is gonna open. EndNote is slightly expensive because it's paid. Here it is. Okay, so this is EndNote, how it looks here. So all references 40 are here, right? The first thing from EndNote, you can do it from Ryan, you can do it. I'll show you through Ryan, but you can go and you can always remove the duplicates. So find duplicates from library, you can do that. But what I'm trying to show you here is this is how EndNote looks. Imported references 40. You see all those 40 here, and this is your abstract. So if you go through PubMed, you have to open every article. It takes a lot of time, but here, how you do it? Okay, you see that next, 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 like very fast. Primary screening is going. Titles, you're going it through very fast. And how you do is you can develop groups here. So EndNote gives you option to develop a group. Yeah, create a group. So my first group will be for instance, RCT. Okay. My second group will be cohorts. You can do retrospective, and then maybe to save time, excluded articles. Okay. So three groups. So now what we do is go through here, lactic acid doses and I feel what it is. Um, So if you're confused, if you think it needs, secondary screening as well to save time, you can make another group and you can write questionable. So maybe just to save time, I'll put it in questionable. So you just put up here and put it in questionable. So now 39 unfilled, right? Second, what is this one? So what I'm trying to say is, let's go to unfilled. So you go through all of these 40 and you put them in, your cohort, excluded articles, questionable RCTs, and in the end you will be able to, do primary screening and get that less number that you need to do secondary screening on. So this is how you use EndNote. To save time, I'm gonna just go to Ryan, but pretty helpful. Why? Because it's making your work less, right? It's making you more systematic. It's saving your time. So in research, time is everything, as I mentioned, because after a trial, people start publishing in 5 to 6 days. So time is everything. So that's how EndNote works. So Ryan, as I mentioned, is free. It's easily approachable. If you're a medical student, it's very hard to, because you're paying so much for all of these things. So you can use Ryan, which is newer, I feel, than EndNote. EndNote has been used for so many years. So Ryan is also AI based. So when you open Ryan, You have to make your account. You can make it through Google. I did the same thing this morning. And then you create a review. So here it will show you the first one. Okay, so what's so cookie-induced cardiac arrest? Very good. It's a systematic review and domain. Just do not applicable. That's fine. So create new review. So you have created this file and it's asking you to import. As we did for EndNote, it was a different way, but as I mentioned, Ryan is AI based and more smart. So select files, and this is our file. So let's open it. Continue. Okay. And you can invite members, like put email of all of your, your colleagues who are in the same group, and they will be able to see those articles. So I'm doing it for demonstration, so I'll skip this. And let's see how, oh, great. So 40 articles are here. And let's search duplicate. So the first thing again is duplicate. What that means is there is an article published, for instance, the main journal and also in the PubMed. So it will sometimes, PubMed will put both of them there. So you cannot use both of them, right? So one click, proceed. Let's see. Great. So two duplicates are there, and start resolving. So it will show you both the duplicates. So Brugada syndrome report of second consensus conferences. So for you, they worked, right? Titles were different, so it got confused and added both, but authors are the same. If you can see date published, kind of, maybe first was the abstract, the second was the full length, but kind of the same publication, right? Abstract versus full length. So you can keep one of them. So I'll put the list, maybe keep the right article. Depends on me. It won't impact your research. So now overview, let's go to the screening. As we did for PubMed, Ryan is more smart. So now you can see your articles here, your abstracts here. It was different in EndNote, right? Like if you see EndNote, okay, in EndNote it was slightly different because it was showing abstracts on the right side. So how Ryan is more smart, it will develop these like you did for EndNote yourself. Again, I use EndNote myself. I like to do it by myself, but Ryan is doing work for you. It's AI based, so it's showing six articles are prevalence based. There is prevalence, epidemiology. So kind of it's not your research question, right? It's just review. You're just studying epidemiology. Four are case reports, so these are excluded criteria. Cohort, you need them. Yes. Literature review, you don't need them. Again, these are all review articles. Case control, you can use. Observational, you can use. Retrospective cohort, you can use. Retrospective study, I think again is no, it's a review maybe, but we will not use this. And no RCTs I see. But what I'm trying to say is Ryan will do work for you because it's AI based. It's already developing tables for you. But if you want to do yourself, what you can do is go through them individually as well. So first one, maybe exclude. Second one, it's a case report you can see here, exclude. So you go through all of them from top to down, and this is how you keep on excluding them, right? So very efficient. Ryan is more efficient, and also, it's free, so that's a big deal. Let's go to our presentation. Actually, let me stop sharing this one. Okay. And I'll go through questions as well. So this is how you use intelligent systematic review to Ryan. Jack paper. I'll show you a paper we published in Jack, I think 6 months from now. And again, why I want to show you guys that is, it's very important to save your data. Whatever you're doing, save your data. So this is our paper that was published in Jack. But let me go to the submission file. So, again, I think last presentation you went through this, but what I'm trying to show you here is if you go down, Jack or bigger journals want to see your research strategy. Like if you don't show them, it feels like it's less authentic. So in supplementary files, so also in figure, like this was the figure I showed you. So you have to use the Prisma, the same thing I showed you earlier. And then when you go to the supplementary files, yeah, here. So the first supplementary file, what it is, look at here, research question, PICOS, search strategy. So it is always your first supplemental file, and you have to show how you shrunk those articles. So here we go, supplemental file one. Research question was this: effect of gender affirming hormonal therapy on among masculine and trans feminine individuals in on lipid profile. PICOS, we show the mesh terms as I showed you. So this is the table. So look, transgender persons, what is that? That's our population. Gonadal steroid hormones is our intervention. Hyperlipidemia is our outcome. So look, or these are all the same mesh terms. So you use with an or. These are all ors. And similarly, these are all ors and these are all ors. And you combine three of them through and. And then you write your literature strategy like the one I showed you in the PubMed, which is go to advanced. This, right? You have to copy this and paste it in a Word file because you have to put it in your supplementary files. So PubMed 140, Ambase 420, kind of the similar and or, just how do you navigate that, but the concept is the same. And you can add duplicates as well, 130, 33 word duplicates and all that. So you have to save them for your supplemental files. This is very important. Okay, let me go through now. So we are near the end of our presentation. Uh, but just a few more things. So proposal, always develop a proposal when you have a research question. Why? Because I think I learned this from Dr. Faz Anwar. He was associate professor in Cleveland Clinic. He was, I worked with him as a remote researcher in 5 years back. But he used to teach us proposal. Make a Word file of two pages. You need to have your study question in there. Write an introduction as well, just to show your team, because when you're developing a question, your team might not be that aware with the question. It might be hard for them. So 10 people, the leader will always make a proposal, study question, introduction. What is known about the disease? You have to write that so it will be easier for them. What is unknown? What is our study question and how it will help clinicians? What is it adding? So they should know from the start, because if they do not know that, during literature search or during screening, they can miss things. So that is also very important. And then inclusion exclusion criteria, put it there, and references as well. So make a proposal of 2 pages. It takes hardly, I would say, like maybe 15 20 minutes to make that on Word these days. So make that and divide it among your team so everyone knows what they're working for. And again, the summary for today, start with a clear focus question. Again, I don't know how much emphasize I can do this. I can put on this. Research question is the most important thing in research. But how? Maybe if your team is 50, maybe you're adding 1,000 articles. Maybe you're adding everything on PubMed. But if your research question is not good, it will never get published or published in a low impact journal. A good research question, team of just 4 people will take you miles. So research question is the most important thing. Again, we saw how PICOs, what PICOs mean, how we structure our question after we develop that. Then PubMed using efficiently for mesh and Boolean operators, using your literature data smartly to get your studies. And again, screening is important, systematically and extract key data. Again, I just wanted to mention these 3 quotes are always very powerful. So, power of taking the first step. I know a lot of you might have done a lot of research already, but some of you are just starting it. So, the journey of 1,000 miles begin with the first step. Never think that your colleagues are so uh, you know are on front on top of things, but you are just starting now. But the first step is the hardest step. Either it is USMLE step one, either it is the today's lecture. The first step is the most important. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step, and it always seems impossible until it's done. So it's very important. I just added this to show my journey. Always remember your journey. You can never compare yourself with another person. You are special. You will have your own journey, and I believe in 2 3 years you will be taking these lectures as well. And always try to help others. I think giving back is something we should do always. So we do have 9 minutes. I tried to do it 15 minutes for the research, for the question answer session. I think I'll open the podium for questions.
Hello, Saad bhai. Good morning. This is Noman Shafiq. I think we have met a few times. Excellent presentation. Um, I think you really summarized it, and I mostly use EndNote, but
Mhm.
I think that Rayan is also it's very good. I haven't used it much, but I think it's good for people who are starting now and who don't have EndNote available like through their organization where they work. But excellent presentation. I think it's very good for beginners. It's very important to learn proper mesh terms, because if you miss just 1 or 2 articles, your research is not authentic.
Exactly, Naman. I met Naman actually last ACC as well. Are you Naman in these pictures? You're not here, but soon, soon. So yeah, he's right. Like I think EndNote is more efficient. I have used it, like because I think with AI there is always a small gap. You can miss things. So EndNote, it helps you, but again, it's $100 or $200. I got it through my institution, as Naman mentioned. So Brian is always good to start, and you can always cross check. Thank you, Numan, for your kind words. We have chat as well. I'll go through chat quickly if there is no one here. So let's see.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. It's hello. How are you doing?
Gigi, Dr. Noman here. I'm Nishtarian.
Great. How are you doing? What's the question?
Yes, sir. My question is, when I'm beginning my research, like I'm very first time. So when I'm going to start my meta-analysis, when I develop a question, and when I search it on the PubMed,
Mhm.
so what will be the criteria of starting my proceeding my research? Like how many meta-analysis or systemic review should be present on that question already? Or I also can study other researches like other than meta-analysis.
Great. So, if I'm not wrong, I think your question is if there is an already done meta-analysis, how many meta-analysis should be there already, or if there is a specific number. So, if you're doing an analysis on the same topic, it should be a good question. That's what you mean?
Dr. Noman.
Oh yeah. So no. So yes, update meta-analysis. As I mentioned previously, there is no good number. Like if there is a popular topic, there might be 10 meta-analysis on that topic. Again, as I mentioned, update meta-analysis these days is very hard to publish. You have to have something out of it. Like if the previous meta-analysis, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter, was 2 years ago. So there are significant number of studies that came after that meta-analysis. And then when you're doing your meta-analysis, it's giving different results. Like if the cocaine-induced cardiac arrest in young adults was showing negative results previously, now it's positive. So you are adding something new. Maybe there were studies that were more impactful that came and less heterogeneity. So this is when you know that your meta-analysis, even it's after 10 meta-analysis, will get good, might be published in a good, well-cited journal. But again, if you're not answering a new question, it's just the previous meta-analysis, you added 3 studies, similar results, added some, I don't think so it will be much useful. Update meta-analysis.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Yep. Thank you for the question.
I got it.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome,
Yeah.
Saad.
Assalamu alaikum, Saad bhai. It was a very good presentation. I appreciate it. I'm gonna talk in Urdu, so please don't mind.
No
So
worries.
Saad bhai, आप ये कह रहे थे वो patient centered meta analysis की. So can you explain it little bit more about patient centered? I didn't understand at that time. And second thing, I need your favor. So if you don't mind, can you share your email? Because I like I have more questions about this, so I'll send you email about this meta analysis. And thank you so much. Thanks so much.
I'm sorry. You're welcome. I'll explain about let me just share with all. I think I just shared with just one person. So is there everyone? There is no everyone option. Meeting group chat. Maybe now you guys can see my
Yes,
email.
yes. You know, Saad bhai, I am also in Boston. Like I'm in working as a postdoc in Beth, Israel. I see like you are also a cardiac fellow in Lahi Hospital. So
Yes.
that's yeah.
Oh, great to know. That's great to know. Boston is a great place, very educational, very research oriented. So, what does patient level meta analysis mean? So, what I was trying to say is when you do meta analysis, right, there are 4 studies, for instance, 2 cohorts and 2 RCTs. How you do meta analysis is you develop a research question, you select those studies which are specifically about your research question. So, you just put those already published results, right? You put them 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Patient level meta-analysis is you're getting patient data at a patient level from RCT, from people who are running trials. It's very hard to get because, there are so many, like restrictions and all that stuff, but you have to go through that. So you get patient level data, like you're not taking analysis of 50 people, adding to another analysis of 150 people, increasing the number. You're getting actually that data of 50 patients. Now, when you combine them, you have 200 patients. And now, if you think your research question is slightly different, you can omit some patients, maybe do it on 180 instead of 200, but what you're doing is will produce entirely different results. Like if you go to any like go to Jack or any state of art review, what state of art review is about, they will provide a timeline about anything, and then in the end they will do a patient level meta-analysis. So basically you're adding data from a patient level, and now if you're doing analysis, it has much more information, because now it's not utilizing anyone else's meta-analysis. Because when you use someone else if you're using analysis done by someone else, you are actually using the same limitations, and you are using the same exclusion criteria. But patient level meta-analysis, you can play around by yourself. I don't know if I'm able to explain, but
Yeah, understand. I understand.
okay, great. No, thank you so much. It's a very good question. Thank you so much for that. I'll quickly go through this chat. So, can we include those studies whose full length articles is not available, but just abstract? I have never done that, honestly. What I was taught, usually we should have full length. Why? Because when you're doing, after secondary screening, when you're putting this data into Excel sheet, I think someone will have lecture on that. You will not find anything. So it has to be a full length. You can touch base with your colleagues as well, but abstracts are not appreciated. Amna, thank you so much. Welcome. We'll take final question before wrapping it up. Okay. Yes. Any other questions?
I think there's one question from Kuratulalan, but I don't think that it's related to today's lecture. It's more about how do you find a postdoc research position.
Yes. Honestly, I haven't done postdoc research myself, but because I was trying to help people. So what I found from them is, if someone is here already, as I think Zubair is a postdoc fellow here, you have to reach out broadly, like maybe 1,000 emails or something, and then you get opportunity. It's very hard to get, so you have to reach out broadly through emails. That's the best way I found from my search.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly, Saad bhai. Bilkul. I would just add on that mass emails, and try to make emails more personalized. Whoever is the person that you're reaching out to, you should just look them up, see what their work they are doing, and then if you can mention it that you are interested in that work as well, so that goes a long way.
Thank you, Naman, for the comment.
Yes. Saad bhai, I'm gonna add one thing. Like, uh, I also like got like lot of email and papers and like, can you recommend me for research position? Honestly, this thing happens. I'm not denying this fact. यहाँ पे मतलब होते हैं, कई के लोग हैं जो अपने बच्चों को मतलब होता है, ये भी एक फैक्ट है जो नहीं होता है। बट मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मैस ईमेल्स ही करनी पड़ती हैं। और जब आप मैस ईमेल्स करते हो तो कई मरतबा आपका जो मतलब अपॉर्चुनिटी आपको पेड पोजीशन की भी मिल जाती है। तो मतलब इसका यही होता है कि वो और पता नहीं यार, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि रिसर्च का कोई, आई डोंट नो, कोई इतना बहुत ज्यादा फायदा नहीं होता पोस्ट डॉक का।
I
यहाँ
think
पे,
that
हाँ मैं सच
this
कह
is
रहा हूँ,
a
यहाँ पे
common
आई
question
सी
for
लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु डिड रिसर्च फॉर 1 year and 2 year and they went unmatched। मतलब रिसर्च इंटरव्यूज में तो वो पूछते भी नहीं है रिसर्च का।
I think that's very subjective, and it's a topic of discussion for another time and another place. We had limited time for this session, and it's almost it's yeah, it's 8 now.
I'm just gonna give
So,
final remarks. Again, thank you so much, Ata, for moderating the session. Great questions. Again, research. I'll just briefly touch that. Impactful research and research are two different things. You have to be more impactful. How you can make it more impactful? Always search for good mentors. I don't feel there is any boundary. We all are one, like someone who helped me, like Amir bhai, like he was a mentor to me as well. So there are no boundaries. If you're good, if you're working hard, honestly, I'll support you. Amir bhai will support you. Work hard, do more impactful research. And like I feel when I applied for the match, research was not a big thing, honestly, at that time, maybe for fellowship. But now I see so many talented medical students, third year, fourth year, are doing such a great research, that now I think for residency, clinical research is very important. Postdoc, again, I didn't do that, so I'm not very sure about that, but I think you're right. So yes, impactful research, go for the mentors, work hard. There are people who will help you, because someone also helped me, so I'll be there to help you as well.
all right. Thank you so much, Dr. Saad Rahman. I think your session was very practical and very insightful. And on behalf of everyone, I would like to thank you again for taking the time out and to share your expertise with us. And thank you everyone else for joining us.